Good morning. This is a brand new YouTube channel, so I'm still trying to learn, but I'm gonna do a few short videos and kind of just get going. I haven't done this before, so I'm all new to it, but I've been seeing some stuff. I use VECTRIC ASPIRE, and I've learned pretty much a lot on my own. There are some good YouTube videos out there, but it took me a while of watching these videos to figure out what was going on. But for my first video, I just want to show a basic, because I've had a lot of people on posts that I see that they need more pixels to do more modeling in Aspire. So one thing that I found is if you at the very beginning of the start page, before you create a new file, if you hold shift and create up here, if you can see that, I need to learn how to do some other stuff, but before you click create new file, hold shift, and then while holding shift, click create new file. And of course you can go through your single-sided, double-sided, your basic start up of your job material, the width, height, thickness, whether it's going to be in inches or millimeters. If you want your orientation of the Z, it's all the same, material, surface, machine bed. But the difference is when you get to the modeling resolution down here, you have more options now. Since you held shift and then clicked start a new job, you have your basic standard, your basic high, and your basic very high. That's the three that you get when you just click start new job. But if you hold shift and then click that, you also get extremely high, but it is 20 times slower, and you get maximum, which is 50 times slower. But it really makes a difference on your 3D view. And here's one thing that I found while using these higher settings. Even the very high setting works really good. You just need to design your project not in the size of your workpiece or whatever you want the finished piece to be. Of course, you know, if your sign is going to be, 48 inches tall by 11 inches wide, you don't want to design in that size because that's very big and stretched out. So what you'll do is you'll cut that down. You'll cut that down to, let's say, you maybe 3 inches high. By, I don't know, anything you want. It's hard to come up with stuff, but anything you want that's in the same sort of dimensions as your project. I mean, this, I don't even know how, you can scale up and down things once you get it created. But let's just say 6 inches high. The thickness doesn't really matter. Well, it does matter if you're got something that you have a real deep carve, but so basically by choosing one of the higher resolution settings, okay, we'll just select the extremely high, which is the 20 times slower. Okay, I've got the width scaled down. This is on my 2D design page view. You'll do everything on scrolling back and forth between 2D and 3D and everything. So basically you've scaled it down. You're using the high setting, and just go ahead and click OK. That's for your job setup. We're ready here. So now you've got roughly the same dimensions as your workpiece, except it is very scaled down small. So what that means is you're going to take all those numbers of pixels and you're going to cram them inside this small area and do your design. You can scroll in or out depending on what you want, So you can move it around with the mouse top button, roll the wheel to, scroll it away or zoom in. So basically, if I go over to my clip art, or the clip art, if you've made your own clip art, you can have some, but I'm just gonna show for an example. I'm gonna click the clip art. Let's see here. Let's just take this apple. And if you haven't downloaded them, when you click it, it'll show up as a green little arrow that says, oh, the clip art is downloaded, so now you can use it. It's all there, but you just have to, it needs to do something. But and this is using VECTRIC ASPIRE. So here's my apple, and of course it comes in, the apple is very small, but it comes in larger. So whoever designed this model designed it at, let's just say, because they saved it as a 3D file or an STL file at this, what size this is right now. You click over into the transform objects, set selected object size, and you can see the size of this project. Right now it's 4x9 wide inches, and it's 5.7 inches high. Okay, we want it to fit in our work area. So at this point, you can look at the 3D view, and you can see it's bigger than your work area. So you can go into the modeling, and you can scale this from a 3D view, but it's easier just to go ahead and scale it down here. Grab your handlebars. You can hold Shift on any one of these, and it will scale the whole thing at one time. Or I usually just click the corners, whatever, hold Shift, click to scale it down, and it will scale the whole thing instead of one side. So scale it down to your work size there. Okay, now it's in. Go ahead and close that. We don't need this job selection size. Now you're going to scroll over to your 3D view over here. And when you zoom in, because we're using that 20 times more pixelation and your job area is very tiny, you can even make it smaller. I mean, this right here is pretty good for modeling. So if I wanted to model, I could go into the modeling and do some changes or whatnot. But I'll do more videos on that later when I get a little bit more handy with this camera setup, because I wasn't even looking. So you can see that right there with the apple. Sorry, I didn't show, but you can, as you scroll in and out, you have more. It's not blurry, and you can actually take this view And up under, I believe, toolpaths, you have options. Best thing to do is just, play around with all these things. Figure out what they do. I learned from nothing, and you just have to remember that while you're in the computer, it's just a program that you can play around. It's like a learning tool. You're not actually gonna. Eventually, you will go over and you will carve what you want, but when you get to the carving part, everything does have to be set, speeds and feeds. You don't want to overrun your bit and break your bit, but while you're just rendering in the program, you can up speeds, you can downgrade speeds, you can add different you can add different Z heights, and just test things out just to see on your time frames, and you can start to see like how long things are going to take, and then by making some changes with Z height, safe heights, and feeds and speeds, you can see, and depths, pass depths on your tools. Sometimes if you have a very, very, very shallow pass depth, well, it's going to meet that shallow pass depth all the way down to your maximum depth. So if you want that, you can run a little bit quicker on your machine speed. But in the computer, in the program, you can play around with stuff. You can change stuff. You can experiment with stuff, and you're not wasting wood. You're just playing with a computer model. So up under the toolpaths, once you get into your view, you have options up here under preview simulation. You can keep that at the maximum or extremely high. Standard, you're just going to get very standard view, and the preview simulation refers to when you get over to the toolpaths up on this blue button with an arrow that points over. That's going to be your route over to the toolpath area. So right now you're in the design side, so click that arrow. That opens up on the other side over here, the whole toolpath operations. I'm sorry for the bad quality of this, but I hope you can see. But you have your job set up, your thickness and all that good stuff, and then you have different toolpaths. So whenever you render a simulation for a toolpath, the view of it will be better if you go into the toolpaths and choose the higher resolution. It doesn't really slow things down too much, but now the maximum resolution at the beginning when you hold shift, that will slow up your PC. It doesn't take too much longer if you have something else to do while you're waiting for a toolpath to generate, but it's not that. It gives you so much better while you're modeling to let's say mold and shape this apple. If you wanted it bigger, you can change this. You can take a clip art and you can change it. You can do anything you want with the VECTRIC ASPIRE in the modeling. And of course, this apple is always going to be in the clip art. It's always going to be the same. So if I take this apple and I just totally mess it up, okay, if I haven't baked it into a new shape, I can just close the file, start a new file. I can delete the clip art, So you go back over here. There's another in the very corner. There's another blue arrow up there. don't know if you can see that, but the arrow is right in the top corner. If you click that, that takes you back over to your 2D. Well, we're in 3D view, but that takes you back over to your operations over here. So that was just a quick little video on how to get better resolution out of your clip arts, or out of your 3D models that you can get from the clip art, or if you design them. A lot of people don't know about that. I just happened to find a YouTube video that showed it, and it works perfectly, you know. So, but you can do whatever you need to, however you want. The standard or the middle high resolution does give pretty good if you're just going to be dealing with clip art and placing it on your projects and then positioning it. That view is perfectly fine. It just plays a part when you're trying to generate a toolpath. That maximum resolution, it really takes a lot, and it bogs your computer down. So unless you're going to be modeling something and molding something like clay, in the modeling tab up here, I'll show you this. Up in the modeling tab, we got this apple selected right here. So if I go to the 3D view, which was up here, and most of all this, you're always, you can tile the views. You can get a 3D view and a 2D view. I like to keep it separate. I like to just click back and forth, you know. But with this apple, you can see that this now is a component. You have chosen a clip art, put it on your 2D workpiece, with it kind of selected dark as it is. That is a selected component now, and that component will show up in your 3D view. And if you don't have anything selected or chosen to be put there, you just have a blank view of, you know, if you don't have something made that is a component. So that's a component. But you can take that in the modeling tab, and you can do a lot of stuff. Up on the very top here, you have the little hand with the sculpt. You can sculpt the model. You know, you can do various different modeling techniques. You know, it takes a while to learn these. I'll do more videos on these, and maybe I'll get some help from someone to get some better views, you know, on some of these. I'm just kind of working this camera by my hand, or this phone anyway. But yeah, so if you wanted to check what's the Z height of this selected component that I have right here, you come over to the change the properties. It looks like a little microphone. You can click that. It'll show the component name right up here at the top. There's some different things, you know, for adding to other components and how they respond to each other. We don't worry about that right now. But your shape height, see, it shows your shape height as 0.16, you know, so that's, you know, a little over a 1/8 of an inch. And then, you know, in your 3D view, you can look at it sideways and see that you know, that kind of corresponds to about how thick that it says it is over here. And the base height, I'm going to try to get both views here. If you select the base, you know, the base bar, and watch the apple, you can thicken it up, or negative. I'm going to move it thicker. So you can add a base. You can take it down under the Z-plane or above the Z-plane if you want to like kind of give it a little bit, but you can make it thicker or back to basic 0 height. And then you have some other functions. I'll do more videos on that later. But basically, the video was just to show you the modeling view and how to get to that higher resolution. You can even get a higher resolution if you make your job workspace area even smaller and scale this component down even smaller. You can get very, very, very detailed. So that's it for today. That shows you how to get the extra view. Kind of ran through a few other things, but there's so much that, you know, some people need a little help out there, and I've spent months and months and months, and I've learned all this stuff, and now I'm going to start just running through and doing a few things to show people how to get there, because, you know, it is very confusing sometimes, and you know, a lot of time. And like I said, if you don't want that and you're done, it's very simple. Right click that apple over here, see that? The component on the component tree, right click it. You have some choices that come up. Just go right down to delete, hit delete, it's gone. Close that out. Go back to your 2D view if you want. It's not there. You can pick another clip art and play around with it. So I mean, you're not gonna ruin your program, you know. Or if you just want to close it out, start a new job, you go back to your drawing. Up in the corner here, there's the little box. You can choose a new file. You can you know, select file up here, close it, don't save it, start, you know, or you can save all of these little things. You have so many options that I'll run through all of these and do some more stuff, but that was it for today. Thanks for watching. I'll do more videos later. Have a great day.